Wellington's fantastic. Just look at all of the wonderful natural places around here. One of the really great things is how much nature's come back into the city over the past few decades. But the world is changing. There's no denying that. There's no getting away from it now. We're absolutely locked into some changes which we can't avoid. One of those is temperature. New Zealand's already 1 degree warmer than it was a century ago. Another one's sea level rise, particularly around here in a coastal city. That's really going to have a big impact. So we really need to understand what that means at a really local level. And there's actually research which shows that when you ask people to think about what is going to happen to their place, to Wellington in this case, that then they really understand and feel much more motivated about doing something about climate change, which is why we've asked you to come here today, because we want to talk about what's going to happen to Wellington and actually think about what sort of city we want. And one of the really important things for us at Forest and Bird is that we have nature right at the centre of that. So, think about these guys, the little blue penguins. They're already having a really hard time because of us. We've destroyed habitat, we've introduced predators, we have our dogs on the beaches, we have fishing practices that affect them, so they are already struggling. Now, if we bring climate change into the mix, lots of things happen to them. It's harder for them to feed their young or to feed themselves. They actually need to be able to see the prey. So when we've got murked up water because of all the storms we've had, think about what the summer's been like. A lot of sediment running down into the sea, that makes it hard for them to hunt. The species they eat, the fish they eat, are moving. Another thing, though, that might really be a problem for these guys is that as we respond to climate change to look after ourselves, we could inadvertently have an even bigger impact on them. So think, for example, Wellington is right by the sea. The sea level is going to rise. A very human response to that is to build a wall. We build a very sheer wall, which is what we often build with our sea walls. These guys come ashore to roost. They can't get up those walls. So a bit of thought about what nature's going to have to deal with, and to factor that into what we do as our response to climate change, is absolutely critical, not only for us but for nature. The upside of it is, if we look after nature, it will look after us. By having really healthy ecosystems is our absolute best chance of dealing with the impacts of climate change. That's why we're here tonight. We've got some fantastic speakers here for you to listen to. People right at the top who can actually do something about climate change. But what is critical is that they hear from you too, that they hear what sort of city you want this to be, what you want them to do, and bottom line, what you're prepared to do.